For 3 days, the rain had been relentless. It fell in thin, needling sheets, making the streets of Shreveport glisten like slick oil. Detective Mara Collins tightened her grip on the steering wheel as she navigated down Caddo Street. The old district, the one whispered to be cursed. It started as just another missing persons case, a teenager who vanished after a Halloween party. But in Shreveport, missing often meant gone for good. The GPS led her to a skeletal structure, an abandoned butcher shop. Its faded sign read, Gideon S. Meats, since 1921. The windows were caked in years of grime, but through the filth, a single light flickered erratically. Something was wrong. Mara drew her service weapon, the cold metal a small comfort against the growing unease. She pushed the door open and stepped inside. The smell hit her like a physical blow, a thick, cloying mixture of copper and rot, so heavy it felt like you could taste it. Then she looked down. The floor wasn't tile or concrete. It was soaked through, a dark, tacky red that clung to her boots with a sickening squelch. She swept her flashlight across the room, the beam cutting through the oppressive darkness. Meat hooks dangled from the ceiling, but they weren't empty. Shapes hung from them, shapes that were once human. Limbs were gone. Faces were carved away into unrecognizable masks of agony. And on every single body, the same symbol was etched into the flesh. A crescent moon hovering over a wide, open eye. Her radio crackled to life, the static making her jump. Detective Collins, we traced the missing kid's phone. The location matches yours. At that exact moment, her light caught movement. A shape was crouched behind the dilapidated counter. Police! She barked, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. Show me your hands, now! The figure rose, slowly, deliberately. It was a man, his apron stiff and dark with blood, his eyes gleaming like wet stones in the dim light. He whispered, his voice a dry rasp. You shouldn't have come. She's waking up. Just as the words left his lips, a deep rumble shuddered through the floorboards, vibrating up through the soles of Mara's boots. The hooks hanging from the ceiling began to sway, their gruesome burdens dancing in the shadows. And then, the bodies opened their eyes. But they weren't eyes anymore. They were red, bottomless voids. They started to twitch, their movements sharp and jerky, like puppets pulled by invisible strings. The man in the apron dropped to his knees, a sound bubbling from his throat that was half laugh, half sob. She feeds on the blood we spill, he cried out, his voice cracking. And she's so hungry. The single light bulb flickered violently, and then, in the strobing darkness, Mara saw it. Something was crawling from the deep cracks in the floor. It wasn't a person. It wasn't even flesh and bone. It was the city itself, the ancient bones of Shreveport, with veins of asphalt pulsing and a mouth forming where the drains gurgled. It was alive. Mara didn't hesitate. She ran. She burst back out into the night, only to find the rain had turned a sickening crimson. Every drop that touched her skin burned like acid. When backup finally arrived an hour later, the butcher shop was gone, vanished. All that remained was a wet, empty lot. There was no sign of Detective Collins, no building, no bodies, nothing. But even now, locals will tell you, if you drive down Caddo Street on a rainy night, sometimes you can still see her patrol car parked by the side of the road, its lights flashing silently, engine idling forever. And if you listen closely, you might just hear her radio crackle one last time, her voice echoing through the static. Dispatch, the streets are bleeding. Thank you for joining me in the shadows tonight. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more tales from the darkness. Stay safe out there, and until next time, try not to listen too closely to the sounds your city makes at night.